on the far side. Chris Adamson, 428 on a 423 dial. April Soares broke out. She ran a 13 on an 18. So Chris Adamson's going to round number 2 in the Friday Pro Gambler. Here at Avenal Sand Drags. Jim Lahr up next on the near side against Wes Johnson over on the far side. And the win to Wes Johnson over on the far side, 371 on a 68. A little closer to his dial than Jim Lahr. So Wes Johnson will go to round 2. Next up, Robin Costello in the near lane. And Matt Springer, old cuz out of Colorado, over on the far side with the Benz Revenge Jeep. And the win to the far side, win to the near side goes to Robin Costello, 501 on the 497 dial. Whole shot win. Matt Springer was dead on with a 0. 420 with a 0 on a 20, but had the slower reaction time. Robin Costello moves on to the next round. Ron Hess over on the far side from Avenal, Fiat Topolino, up against Tony Soares over here in the near lane. And the win to Tony Soares over here in the near lane, 481 on a 475 dial. Closer to the dial-in for Tony, and he'll move on to round 2. Next up, Justin Adamson here in the near lane, up against Joe Simeone, the I Love It Jeep over on the far side. Joe was your Pro 3 winner up at Caboba, the SoCal Sand Drag Association a couple weeks ago. And the win to Justin Adamson over here in the near lane, 428 on the 27 dial. Justin Adamson getting the job done and moving on to round 2 in the Friday Pro Gambler. So you're watching the National Sand Drag News live stream presented by Avenal Sand Drags this weekend. We're at the 2017 Avenal Sand Drags Fall Nationals in Avenal, California. We are in the middle of round 1 of the Friday Pro Gambler. Excellent turnout this weekend. There were 33 entered at one point for the Pro Gambler. I'm not sure what the final number ended up being, but a huge amount of cars here for Avenal. It's certainly a record for Friday here. Really good turnout. They had the ATV racers. There's a ton of bikes here this weekend. They all kind of got together and decided to do I believe it was 2.5 hours of test and tune instead of a gambler today. So they made a bunch of passes earlier on today. I got some good shots we'll post up later on tonight of them, and they'll be hitting the track for competition in the sportsman classes tomorrow. But for the car bracket guys, they've got the Pro Gambler going on right now. This is round 1 eliminations, and then probably, I don't know, I would guess somewhere between first and second round or second and third round of the Gambler we'll have qualifying session number 1 for the top alcohol and top eliminator heads up categories. Somewhere around 4 o'clock local time will be that session. Beautiful day here in Avenal, California, up in Central California area, about halfway between Fresno and Bakersfield. Beautiful facility here. quick clean of the track, and we'll be ready to send the next pair down here in just a moment. Cool temperatures for here in Avenal, high somewhere in the high 60s today. Pretty steady wind, crosswind going across the track. Wind is supposed to die down tomorrow and Sunday, so that'll be kind of nice. But actually, it's a beautiful day here. Sun's out. It started out really nasty here this morning. They had some really heavy winds overnight, and it knocked the power out for the town of Avenal. So when they started test and tune this morning, they were on generator power, and power was restored about noon local time here, and everything's been good ever since. So I'm going to continue on with the Gambler. Friday Gambler. Uh-oh, waiting on something over here. Beautiful Jeep over on the far side for the Bohard team. I believe that's Brent Bohard behind the wheel. Yeah, I believe he's running against the Ross Racing truck. Yeah, it's the 91 Ross Racing truck. I believe Richard Ross is behind the wheel. He'll be here on the near side, the ProCharge step-side Chevy pickup. He had some issues starting up back there, but I hear he has it going now. He'll be in the lane closest to you. Ross dialed in at 420, Bohard in at 453. The near side to Ross, he runs 422 on the 20 dial. Breakout on the far side for Bohard, he went 48 on a 53. So Richard Ross going to round number 2 in the Friday Gambler. Next up, the Gambler himself, Charlie Johnson in the Mopar Power Jeep. Dialed in at 454. He'll be up against Eric Moran over on the far side. And the Chevy pickup out of Avenal, dialed in at 510. And that one goes to Charlie Johnson over here on the near side, 460 on the 54 dial. Looks like he hit the Jeep pretty solid as usual, and he'll move on to the next round. Now we got Kevin Williams over on the far side. Kevin Williams Racing Orange Jeep, Larry Minor Motorsports Built Ride. Against the U812 engine. I believe that's Paul May. Not sure if that's 100% correct. This truck's running some good numbers today. He's dialed in at 520, 404 for Kevin. And the win to the far side, Kevin Williams, 410 on the 404 dial. Nice lap for Kevin. He'll move on to round 2. Next up, Kenny Hayes over in the near side out of Buckeye, Arizona. Up against Vegas. Vegas Strong. Sean Thompson over on the far side, the Terminator Jeep. Sean dialed 435. Kenny's in at 355. And the win to Kenny Hayes there. Got him on the whole shot. 364 on the 55 dial. Titling it on the big end. Sean was 437 on the 35, but just to show you a little bit, Kenny Hayes going to the next round. Got Ken Seifert over here on the near side in the Master Blaster Dodge pickup. Up against, I believe that's Josh Stumbaugh over on the far side in the orange Jeep. That's a tough break right there for Seifert. He broke out, stayed in it, ran 461 on the 65 dial. Stumbaugh with issues over there, but it doesn't matter. He'll take the win. We'll go on to round number next here in the Friday Pro Gambler. So you're watching the National Sand Drag News live stream presented by Avenal Sand Drags this weekend. We're at the 2017 Avenal Sand Drags Fall Nationals. We're 300-foot sand drag racing here in Central California. We're going to clean the track and come back with the rest of round one in the Friday Pro Gambler. Like I said, a ton of cars here this weekend. A lot more on the way as well. Tomorrow's going to be a huge day of racing here. Like there's probably another dozen cars still in the lanes for round one here in the Friday Gambler. Really great turnout for the fine folks here in Avenal. So you do a quick clean of the track. As you can see, it doesn't take all that long to take care of the track as the two tractors with the lane wide implements behind them come down. Keeps the grooming time to a minimum. So a really nice turnout of cars here this weekend from all across the West Coast. We got racers from as far away as Washington and New Mexico. And quite a few from Vegas. A lot of people traveling the distance to come here to Avenal this weekend, Central California. So the chat crew doing a fine job out there with the heavy machinery, taking care of things, keeping the track as smooth as possible. So the next set of cars is getting ready to go. Friday, round 1 Pro Gambler. I see some of the top alcohol and top eliminator teams rolling into the lanes for their first qualifying session. They'll be up here in a little bit. We're going to stay live through the end of the first round here, the Pro Gambler, and we'll come back later with some more action as well. I'm going to give you guys a taste of the action here. So here we go. It's going to be Chris Helmuth over on the far side. I'm sorry, that's Curtis Helmuth over on the far side. Up against I believe that's Tim Gilmore over on the near side in the black Jeep. So Gilmore dialed 440, Helmuth in at 380. Curtis Helmuth over on the far side, 383 on the 380 dial. Move on to the next round. Chris Wells out of Ridgefield, Washington over here on the near side. In the small black Chevy powered V8 buggy. Up against Jeff Dye, Jeff over on the far side. In the brown Jeep. Jeff Dye is ready for the wheelie contest. That was a beauty over on the far side, but it wasn't enough to get him the win as Chris Wells goes 383 to move on to the next round. Jeff stood that baby on the bumper, bounced it down, stood it back up, and carried it to the finish line. That was, he was ready for the Byron Dragway wheelie contest. That's all I know. That was pretty sweet. This is going to be a good pair. Steve Foster over here on the near side, up against Nancy Brown in the Crazy Train blown alcohol Jeep over on the far side. Like to Steve Foster on that one. He went 357 on a 56 dial, 380 on a 79 for Brown. But Foster is going to turn on the win light, go on to round number 2. Next up, it's going to be Stacy Bolton over on the far side against the number 5 Jeep over here on the near side. Like we had a little issue down at the end for the Crazy Train Jeep. It's like the tire come off down there as Brown was turning off the track down there, so not sure how that happened, but looks like the right rear tire came off. That was cool. All the way to the finish line. Alright. So we're back. Actually, it was Anthony Brown, Bill and Kathy's son, that was driving on that pass where the right rear tire came off down there, so. Hopefully no big deal, and they can, hopefully didn't mess up the studs or anything. They're able to keep going this weekend. Making the long haul from Albuquerque, New Mexico. So, sit there and clean the track up, and we'll come back to finish off this round of the Gambler. So you're watching the National Sand Drag News live stream presented by Avenal Sand Drags this weekend. We're at the Avenal Sand Drags Fall Nationals in Avenal, California. We're getting ready for the rest of round one in the Friday Pro Gambler. Crazy action here. The last few passes going down the track. Jeff Dye had that monster wheelie over on the far side. He stood it on the bumper and got back in it, stood it back up on the bumper again, and carried it through the finish line. That was quite a ride. And then the Crazy Train Jeep, Anthony Brown behind the wheel, lost a right rear tire as he was turning off the track at the end. So hopefully it didn't do much damage, and they'll be able to continue on this weekend. So top end of the track is clear. We should be back to action here in just a moment. Looks like we got 2 pair left. Looks like we've got 5 cars left in the lanes for round one, so somebody's got the bye. I believe it's going to be Chris Pintor, but I'm not sure yet. Here we go, number 5 ride up against Stacy Bolt. .440 dial here on the near side, 465 for Stacy Bolt. track is now cleared. Very nice. And the wind goes to the far side. Stacy Bolton, 485 on a 465 dial. 2/10 off, but she gets the job done. As deep on the near side, had a big time breakout. He went 422 on a 440 dial. Next is Chris Calipari. Over here on the near side, up against Jerry Watson. 395 dial for Chris. 405 for Jerry Watson. Chris has had an eventful day so far. He had a wild ride on his first time shot, and then he did an awesome job of saving it on that first run. The second run, he pulled the big wheelie and had to get out of it. So 395 dial for Chris. And the win goes to Chris Calipari, 409 on the 395 dial. Breakout over on the far side for Jerry Watson is here in a 390. So Chris is going to move on to round number 2. That was more like it for Chris. A lot less eventful. So he'll go on to the next round. But next up, it's going to be Chris Pintor over on the far side with the Byron. The old 118 Chevy pickup. And it's a 448 to move on to round number 2. Nick, yeah, Jim Larmer already ran first round. I believe he won. So, but that'll round up round 1. And that out. Big field in Friday Pro Gambler. So we're clean the chat, come back with more action. We're going to go off the live stream here for a little bit. And I'm not sure if we're going to the top alcohol eliminator session next or if we're going to continue on with the Gambler, but we're going to take a break from the live streaming, and then we'll be back later on with some more action for you. And be sure to like the National Sandway News Facebook page. I'll be posting updates as we continue on. And like I said, we'll be in and out with live streaming throughout the weekend. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll be back later on this evening.